So, we did stay in Fort Dix for a little while. Yeah.
I was pregnant with Ivan at Fort Dix.
Okay, all right. So then now we're on Palmer Avenue where the Palmer Panthers, became who they are, which is me, Bibbs, Rocky, and Ivan, and the rest of the crew, The Stanfords, the Wiltshires, the Daggetts, the Johnsons, the Pretlows, the Woodsons, the Levys. Who else? The Chris Parton.
He wasn't original.
He wasn't an original, and neither was Earl, but they came later.
Miss Dumont.
No, they wasn't.
No, not Miss Dumont. No, Bibbs, stop. But yeah, so
you got the gist of it.
Yeah, the gist of it. So we all grew up on Palmer Avenue, and our parents, when we grew up. Well, when we were younger, rather, as we were growing up, when we looked at those pictures, and our parents were in their 20s, we thought they were a lot older than what they are. And when you think about it now, they were still young, very young adults with 4 children. Back then, I think our dad had like a little scraggly beard, which to us made us think he was older than what he really was, but he wasn't. So it goes to show. I mean, our parents worked hard. They had the 4 kids, but I'm sure it wasn't easy because we all was probably doing something, getting into stuff, acting up, or whatever the case may be. But I mean, overall, I would say we had a good childhood. But our dad, Mom, you stayed at home with us for a little while, or you worked at the state hospital for a little while? Okay. And kept the cleanest house ever. I'm gonna tell y'all that now. On hands and knees doing floors. You don't get that too much around here no more. Everybody got Swiffer. So I'm just saying. They lazy now. we do lazy work around here now. Nobody gets down on their hands and knees. I do my bathroom floor that way, but that's the only floor I do that way. But still, Mom was a good homemaker, and I can remember Mom with them S&H green stamps, because you would collect enough, and you would get like pots and pan. What did you get with green stamps?
Probably some dishes or something.
Yeah.
Because I used to take your grandmother down there. She got me a green hen.
Is that up there? That way up there from S&H green stamps?
Yes.
Oh my God! How many years ago was that?
That's been many years
It's been
ago.
over 40 years.
Yeah. Wow.
She got one and I got one. She got
Wow.
me one for carrying her to the S&H green stamps to cash them in.
Oh my gosh, that thing's been around for a minute, and you can keep food warm in that. You put a candle
underneath.
underneath.
Goes under.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. That's too funny. So yeah, I mean, our parents were young, and we lived next door to another young set of parents. Well, actually, Mr. Earl and them, we were older than the majority of their kids, but we lived next door to Earl and Adeline Pretlow, and then next door to them was Butch Woodson and Brenda Woodson. They had a daughter named Michelle, and the Pretlows had Dawn, Brandon, and Corky. Eventually, they had 3 kids, and Michelle was the only child. And then on the end were the Wiltshires, Beverly, Craig, Jesse, and Michael. And next door to us were the Fletchers, Howard and Kalina Fletcher, and then next door to them were the Levys with Heidi, Howard, and Sharon. Then across the street on the corner, you had Miss Daggett, who just recently passed away, God rest her soul. And you had Clara and Emerson Daggett with Willie, Cookie, Morgan, and Carla when she was little. And then eventually there came Princey and Ty. Then next to them you had Mr. Horace and his wife Dolores, right? And then forget the son's name. Rusty, Dougie, and the daughter was Terry.
Hit by a car.
Terry.
One of them got killed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I don't know who lived next door to them.
That was well, Earl ended up moving.
Yeah,
next door.
but before
that was Barron. It was Barron. No, it was Barron before that. Remember the Smiley dude? Okay.
Okay. And then next door to them was Miss Faye. Miss Faye and Mr. Green, and then it was Debbie, Wayne, Kenny, and Meanie.
Right.
And Meanie's David. And then next door to them
was the lady and her son named Kevin.
Ronnie and Ronnie.
Miss Ronnie and Kevin. But then it became Chris Parton and them, right? Or was it Miss
Brown.
Miss Brown, Corey Brown.
Corey Brown.
Around his mom.
Yeah.
Miss Sarah.
And on the ends was Mr. Ernie
and Miss Ann
Wilson.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then next to them were the Johnsons.
Yeah, the Notorious.
You know what?
Anyway, 2 houses.
Yeah.
Family so big they had 2 houses.
Yeah, that was a big family. And then next door to them was who? Was that Charlotte? Was that Pee Wee and them?
Seedy,
Seedy.
Seedy, Family's mother got killed in a fire.
Oh.
Remember the fire around there?
Okay. Vaguely.
You remember the fire?
Vaguely.
Where was you at?
Man, listen, age catches up with me.
About 20 fire trucks on the block that early that morning. She got burnt up in the fire.
Okay.
And then after that, next to her was Pee Wee and them.
Yeah, okay, I remember Pee Wee and them. Okay, now I think I do remember.
And after that was the girl, before them, it was a white family that was related to the Dumonts, but they were cool.
Esposito.
Donna.
Espositos or something.
No, they were cool though.
Yeah.
They were cool. Remember
they were her grandchildren.
Yeah, they were grand. You played with one of them, TT. He was cool.
Okay.
It was Esposito or something.
Okay.
Like
And then the Dumont.
On the end.
So that's the whole block.
That's the whole block.
That's the whole block. So the point with all of that is when we were growing up, everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody. It's not like that now. But I will say that, our mom, when after you stayed home with us for a while, then you went to work where? To State Hospital, or was it somewhere else?
St. Michael's.
No, I went to the
State Hospital first.
Worked there for a little while. Then I went
to St. Michael's Daycare. And I remember,
I don't remember St.
I do remember that, and I remember St. Michael's. And Dad worked at Electric Hose and Rubber with Mr. Earl.
Yeah.
And then Dad became a police officer, right? State police. Trooper. One of the first black state troopers in the state of Delaware. So, when we grew up, not only did we have our mom and dad who managed to make it through with 4 young kids, and they were young parents themselves. Mr. Earl and Miss Adam were like our parents. Mr. Butch and Miss Brenda and Mr. Fletcher and Miss Kalina, they looked out for us too, and so did the Wilchers, and across the street, Miss Faye. Yep. I mean, everybody looked out for everybody. It pretty much was like a neighborhood watch. And the thing about it is, I could show my behind if I wanted to, but somebody else on that block was gonna get in my behind if my mom or dad weren't home. Mm-hmm. So you didn't have parents snapping on other parents saying, don't talk to my child and don't do this and don't do that. So back then you did have parents who were a lot younger. But, and it might have been rough coming up, but at the end of the day, it was a village. We had a village. And right now our problem is we don't really have the village like we're supposed to. Everybody's out for themselves. Now, is the village trying to come back? Of course the village is trying to come back. You got people in business that's trying to help other people get in business. You got people trying to help other people find housing and different things like that. But at the end of the day, we didn't have a bad childhood. We actually had a good childhood, and our parents raised us right. You know what I mean? So, a lot of people look at our parents and say, well, wow, your kids never really got into any big trouble or deep trouble. No, we didn't, because we was going to get that behind tore up at the house. I mean, if mom didn't do it, trust, we was waiting on our dad, or, trying to pretend we were sleeping when he got home.
You might forget about it in the morning time.
No,
yeah. You had your fingers crossed open, he forgot about it. But yeah, so we had a good childhood, and the thing about our mom is not only did mom keep a clean house, but mom was a hell of a cook too. Mm-hmm. Mom kept us fed. Now mind you, she might have made us a plate of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and gave us some Kool-Aid until someone come back in till the lights come on. We back there sweating like slaves, but well, we had a good childhood, and I don't know if there's anything that my brother or my sister want to bring up that maybe they've experienced when we were growing up, but we kind of sit at the table a lot of times and we reminisce on a lot of different things that we went through as, coming up. And so, Bibbs or Ivan, is there anything y'all want to add?
Yeah, well, we go by seniority. Let Bibbs go first.
Go ahead, Bibbs.
Anyway, I was just going to say that to piggyback on what you said about mom being a hell of a cook, Mom always had our meals done, like whenever we came home from school, we didn't have to wait. She always wanted us to eat our dinner before we did our homework, which we did. And let me tell you something, I'm pretty sure back then that grocery bill was probably astronomical, because Mom and Miss Adam would go to the oven door and buy 20 million trillion loaves of bread to make our sandwiches. But back then, we as kids, we didn't eat no one sandwich. We wanted 2 sandwiches. So Mom was making 12 sandwiches a day for us to eat, and especially outside. She would cut them up nicely, put them outside, and tell you to stay out till it was time to come in. And if you came in, you was getting a nap.
That's right.
So we stayed out and made our fun and did what we need to do. But then we came in and took our naps and then went back out to play. But Mom was always there, and not only did our friends look at us, but they just look at our mom and dad as being role models too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. Well, and to add to that, I try to apply what our parents did for us I try to apply that to my own kids. You know, you try to tweak some things a little bit here or there just because of changing of times.
Right.
But the one thing, our parents, they weren't our friends. They were our parents.
That's right.
I think too many situations today where parents are trying to be the child's friend first. You're a parent, and that's the bottom line. You may not even feel good to you to do some of the things or say some of the things you have to say to your children, but the bottom line is at the end of the day, it's going to help them in the long run. So I try to apply a lot of the things that, like I said, our parents did for us to my children now, and so far it has worked because again, our parents had never, had any real issues with us or getting in trouble and stuff like that. Whether it be drinking too early or drugs too early. But I may have drank a little beer too early, but that was it. Never got into none of the other stuff. So, and I thought that was pretty a testament to how we were raised. So, the morals and the values and things that they implemented, we just try to carry on. And really, I look at our children now in the shows. We got some damn good kids.
Oh yeah,
we do.
Oh yeah, we
so
do.
Hopefully they can apply to their children, and we can just keep this show going. And Arrow to me is not doing anything but pointing up.
Yeah. Now,
Can I just add one more thing? I'm sorry. I know Ivan had said that, as far as us being kids and never really getting to any trouble or anything like that. But I do remember, me in school not applying myself. I was a D, C student, not giving my best. And Dad would always get on me or Mom saying, you're just doing enough just to get by. So they wanted to pull the best out of you. They made you do your best because you knew that we could do better. But a lot of times you just wasn't giving it your all. So when you didn't give it your all, guess what? You got privileges taken away from you. Or you couldn't go out and play or do this or do that. So that really made me work hard.
Well, that's true. And I can speak on that probably more so than anybody because normally within 3 months we would run through a pair of sneakers. Well, my 7th grade year, my sneakers lasted me from the beginning of the school year all the way to the end of the school year because I couldn't go outside. Because I stayed on punishment because of my grades. So, when Dad finally let me go outside, and this was like in the early part of June when it was only like a week or so of school left, everybody thought I had new sneaks on. I said, I've been there, these. Shit, I just couldn't go outside.
That is funny.
But I stayed on punishment that whole year. Couldn't watch TV, couldn't do nothing. Couldn't go outside, couldn't do nothing.
And I'm going to tell you, those punishments, they were just forever. You thought it was a life sentence because it was so forever. And it wasn't, but it just felt like a life sentence.
But you know what? How it made us feel just by being punished at home, that would tell me I can never, ever go to jail. Just by those little punishments we had there at home.
You already felt the wrath of incarceration.
Right. And it was so funny because I remember Rocky and I got a little older. And Dad would say, okay, would y'all want beaten or not be able to go outside today? He'd be like, give us the beat. Because we knew beating wasn't nothing. We were so immune to a belt. It was nothing. So he finally caught on to that. He didn't beat us no more. He said, nah, your ass gonna stay in this house today. And that would drive us nuts. Because he knew that's where we wanted to be, outside and outside all day.
Me and Bibbs had the downstairs bedroom, so when we was, I don't know about you, but when I was punished, that it was hot as hell down in that bedroom, and I remember I would just have like my undershirt on or whatever, shorts and stuff, and our friends would come to the window and talk to us, and it'd just be blazing hot. The fan didn't help, ain't nothing help, it'd just be blazing hot, and that's the only communication I had was through the window when I was on punishment with my friends.
I didn't know we had a fan, did we?
I don't know, but it was hot as hell.
I tell you, let's talk about this fan right quick.
Okay.
And not saying it was torture or nothing, but this is the fun stuff now. We didn't give Mom and Dad the props, and then we can start talking some of the fun stuff. We had one fan in the house, I remember one time. Wherever Mom and Dad went, that's where the fan went. Remember, we didn't have a whole bunch of TVs. We may have had one down in the den, little black and white one, little field coat forward, black and white. And Mom and Dad had just got that small RCA color TV. I don't know if you remember that. Told us, don't touch it. Don't touch it. So that was in the living room. So Mom and Dad would watch TV in the living room, that's where the fan would be. But when it was time for them to go to bed, they would unplug the fan and take the fan up in the bedroom. I'll never forget, Aunt Lee and Uncle Robert came up and they spent the night. And they slept in Rocky and I's, we had twin beds, they slept in our room. And they said it was so daggone hot. We ended up going back down the country and they sent us back with them old fans. Remember Aunt Lee gave us that old oscillating fan. It was an old metal, something you would see in a 1940s movie.
Wow.
But it was a powder blue oscillating fan that Aunt Mia gave us because they said it was so hot in the room.